Welcome to the second video in the Graymason Yellow Hex game where we are playing Neptune's Pride 64-man Ultra in a very special edition where not only am I doing this recording of this game, but we have two other players recording a video series as well from their perspective. So while I'm spawning as the Yellow Hex in the northwest corner, we have Belson who spawned in the center and the Jewish Star Empire in the northeast corner. And each of us are in different alliances as it works out. And so you can watch this specific game from three different perspectives, and I'm personally fascinated to see how this is going to turn out with the different perspectives and what I thought was happening versus what was really happening, and the inner turmoils that obviously you're not privy to when you're not part of an alliance. So let's get rolling. First of all, let's go ahead and set the stage with the Alliance map. So this is a picture I drew, and it's based on the best information I have. It may not be accurate, but this is my understanding. So again, you have myself, Graymason, Jorbgor, Belt, Soulfire, Avo, his AI friend, and Fleet. This is now the alliance that we have. We, in the southwest corner, have Spymort with Phil, Bill, and Rager, who are they're in a bit of a bind. You have in the south the strongest southern alliances, the Kara Starbuck Trace with Scarlet, who then have joined forces with Bluebee, Fogor, and Peon. I've called them because it's Kara and Scarlet. I'm calling them the Pink Ladies. We have Darmody and Ripper, who are by themselves and are going to be a similar fate as the Phil Bill team and get crushed between the two larger alliances. You have in the northeast corner King Arthur and Lancelot with Harkoon, Jewish Star Empire, and AI VVVVVV. And then in the north central, it's the Belsun group with Ungoliant, Tinfoil, Queerty, and Galaxu. So this is the lay of the land. And I guess Lebro, he is also a bit of an island. He was originally with Belsun Fleet and an AI that was here, an orange person that went AFK. And so that center faction got fractured. Fleet, at first, we were suspect that he was fully on our side because when he joined us, he didn't want to attack Belson. He didn't want to attack Lebro. He didn't want to go south. We're like, oh, there's nowhere else to go but us. So I think we got to him just in time. And I think he saw that we were the stronger of the alliances. And so it made sense for him to join us. And so he basically took over the AIs, was then saying, okay, Belson, I won't attack you, but I'm going to attack Ungoliant. He wasn't part of our alliance. And that angered Belson. So now we have what's going on is Avo and Fleet pushing north into Belsun and Ungoliant, and you see, I think this chain of stars are all newly acquired, and so they're already making progress. Jorb and I, after a fair amount of time, have finally gotten through this choke point, and I missed my line. Jorb's got these 2 stars too. So we split tinfoil in half, and I'm taking the southern, he's taking the northern, and then I'll deal with Ungoliant and Belson from the north while Avo and Fleet push in, and we'll smush them, meet in the middle, and then I'll continue with Jorb pushing into through Queerty into Galaxu. By that time, these 3 from the northeast are also pushing west, and we'll probably meet somewhere in the middle of Queerty, I would imagine. Jewish Star Empire is going to sit pat. AIVVVV said he was going to go south. I'm still suspect that these 2 aren't really with them, but we'll see. But because he's been pushing into Lebro, and Lebro wants to push into him. Lebro, he's not part of the alliance, but Fleet, because he was part of his original alliance, has been, I think, sliding him some tech. If you look at, nobody knows that Fleet is with us. Not everybody knows Avo's with us. We've only formally admitted that these 4 are our alliance. We'll see once the rest of the board comes to that realization. Soulfire and Belt are going to continue pushing south, and very soon run into the first, I think, real test with Spymort, although between the 2 of them, it shouldn't be too big of a problem, but Spymort should put up a bigger fight, and once he falls, then, they'll be so much bigger, it should not be an issue. So I would imagine they'll get pretty far into the southwest before running into the Southern Alliance. Hopefully by the time they get through that, we've cleaned up this center section, and Fleet and Lebro can push down from the north while our boys wrap around the side, and that Jorb and I are already pushing well into the northeast. If that happens, they'll be in serious trouble and we'll be in great shape. So that's the vision. We'll see how close that comes to reality, but that's the overall master plan. Um, then I guess tactically, if we just dive in a little bit, you can see one of the things that I did probably earlier than most, because I did have such a lead, was I went and built my super highway of warp gates to get all my fleets up to the front, all my ships to the front line. And it's paid off because I had such a long journey. It's allowed me to get into position. Tinfoil now, he just gave up his home star to Ungoliant, so he's clearly has given up. And I'm using the warp gates to get into position. My intention then is to move on to this star here, Red Sheety, as soon as this 250 land here. So so I'm going to focus on getting this cluster first, while Jor continues to get this cluster here. And I mean, that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. If we take a quick peek, we'll do a quick intel check from a star count. You still have Scarlet, AIVV still up at the top. Economy-wise, though, Soulfire really took off, and you have Spymore, you have some other people that are in good shape on industry. You have Soulfire at the top on, I'm sorry, economy. Now this is industry. So we're doing good on industry. Science, I was at the top for a while, but I had to stop when I was building all my warp gates. So people caught up with me a bit. But Soulfire really picked it up. Darmody, that's interesting. That corner doing better than I thought, but not my problem. And then ship count. You can see what devastation I've faced breaking into this, but it should pay off. And meanwhile, Queerty is still sitting pretty strong. So I think this is going to be a tough nut to crack, but luckily we have 3 coming from this way and 2 this way. So hopefully he does not completely divert his attention and give up his eastern flank to protect his western flank. And then carriers, I always like to see some indication of how well you're getting your fleets into position. So to me, this is important to get up there, and I'm happy to see a lot of players on my team up near the top on that. So this is it. Oh, and then I guess let's just for completion from a tech perspective, I think we're the most highly tech. Yeah, so I'm leading the charge on weapons. I've basically been doing weapons the whole game. I'm about a half day ahead of anybody else and probably starting to grow. Manufacturing, we're a little bit behind, but we're in it. But then on terraforming, where's this last one here? We're at the top on terraforming. We have Soulfire on that, and so our terraforming is really, and weapons are the top 2 in the game. So there's nobody that has as strong of a tech as us. There's nobody in the game that is strong. The only way they're going to beat us, realistically, is if the Northeast and the South unite. That is their win condition. Otherwise, I think we got it. We are in cycle 14. Things are heating up across the map. Big picture, LeBro in the middle has been mostly consumed. If we dig into here, he is down to just 10 stars. And what's happening right now is AIVVV is aggressively pushing in and taking those. He sent a message to Fleet basically saying, I'm coming to kill you. And there's speculation that the Fleet may be with us, and it's creating him as a target. So the Fleet now, who's done an outstanding job recovering. Look, remember how far back he was? He's almost caught up to me in economy. He's done an outstanding job of recovering, and this is another reason I wanted him to be on our side. But he's not yet. His ship count is still so low. He is not a match even remotely for AIVVV. So Avo here is kind of trying to do 2 things at the same time. He's trying to remove the AI buddy that he's had here for so long, but he's got 2,000 ships. Even with the lower science count, it's going to take a little bit of a toll. But we also asked him, can you please move through Ungoliant and Belson across the top so you can get on a border with um, help with AIVVV. I know he's planning on doing that as well. So that's the most critical thing. I sent a message to Team Pink down here and basically saying, hey, mission complete with tinfoil, Belson's being removed, it's just QWERTY, but we'll get him no problem. But AI is pushing in and we could use your help. And they said they'll check with us and get back to us. Appreciate the update and the trust. So it's clear to me, and I think I said it in the last update, it's whoever we have three major alliances, and whichever two work together to defeat the third will determine, you know, will determine which alliance is not going to win. So if the Northeast and the South unite against us, one of the two of them will win and we lose. If we unite with either the East or the South, then we'll kill off the other. So it is definitely, everybody's growing on their sides, but it's going to get to this triangle and who's going to be left out. So that's why I'm trying so hard to stay in good, relationships with them. Now, over on the west, speaking of relationship with the south, you'll see we've made progress on Skymort. Skymort is not that strong, and between having basically the number of ships, and here I have a little picture, a little intel, the number of ships that we're sending down between Soulfire and Belt is the same amount of his total, in our first wave, is his total ship count in the game. So we will ravage through him, and these two players will grow quite fast. And the good news is the Southern Alliance is this section. So if we get, even down to here before there's conflict, that's good because we're already going to be in conflict with AIVV much sooner. So in that regard, we might end up wanting to side with the South. I kind of feel like we did, and then we just have to figure out what these two players do, and then maybe it's pushing through the middle. That's probably the play here, but we'll see. So let's dive into my front. In the North Central, we have a lot going on. Last night, QWERTY sent 1,000 ships towards Jorb, and he is ahead of me by about 400 ships, and even more so ahead of Jorb. So it's quite a blow, and unfortunate because that means I was hoping that QWERTY was more focused on pushing east, but clearly he's got enough to send some back to defend his flank. He did lose this. Jorb had this. We'll lose it. He's going to regain it back. I just hit weapons 9 in the last hour, so that's going to help, and hopefully they don't get it for at least a few more hours for us to do some key battles. I know I was ahead, but he's got 51 and he's their weapons guy. So I think I do have like 8 or 9 hours on him. And hopefully that holds. I'm also sending up, I'll be there in 3 ticks. He will take it over in this 1 tick. So if he doesn't blow up the warp gate, I'll be there in 2 hours and I can reclaim Minkar. I know Ungoliant was Johnny on the spot. We'll see how on the spot QWERTY is with blowing up warp gates. So yeah, we'll defend off the mass push, and I think Jorb has also had some people heading over here for which is another home planet. Down here again, I'm losing some firepower, and I made a miscalculation. This was only for industry. I sent 120 down here, hopefully to get there before reinforcements arrive and to be able to do some damage. But I miscalculated, and I was going to lose the star. Now, if he doesn't get, if Tinfoil does not get weapons in the next 4 hours or 5 hours, I'll hold it by 2. If he does, that's going to really stink, and I'm going to have to reclaim it. And I had just buffed it up really nice. But down here, I'm going to lose this battle, but basically blow up all his ships. I am again ahead about 900 ships on him, so and I'm out producing, so I can trade. I don't want to fight 2 folks. I want to focus on Ungoliant, and I want Avo here to be pushing in on Goliath as well, so he is also split to make this easier. But if I can capture this little cluster of stars here, this will be a pretty big swing in my power to be able to continue to push. And again, I've got my engine all set up and very efficiently moving my ships to the front line. So a little bit of assistance for Jorb. Push down here, and I want to get as much of this as I can before I run into AIVVV. So that's what's going on, and let's hopefully the battles go in our favor. Quick update: a couple hours after I finished the last video, Scarlet replied, and this is kind of a pivotal piece of information to understand. So, hello again, glad you made good progress. Full disclosure, we made a deal with AIVVV in order to secure the southeast. I'm sure that you noticed here that the concede by Darmody before any blood was shed due to our diplomatic solution. I believe you have some time without worrying too much about AI, as he will have at least a portion of his forces dedicated to clearing up in the southeast. So on to the next phase of the game. Your alliance is pushing to the southwest as expected. My hope would be that as soon as our forces meet, we can have peace over there and your team's forces can move to the middle from the western entrance. Kara and I would come through the middle. I do think that if you want to realistically add us into the alliance, there would need to be some shedding of smaller current alliance members. I can see this map from your point of view and understand that you'll be playing to win. I think that maybe if I tell you a bit more information, you will understand my motives in this game. I learned that this was Kara Starbucks Thrace's first 64-player game early on and saw how fast they responded to my messages and how quickly they caught into the game. So I decided my goal this game is to teach and show some of the more advanced strategies to her. I think that both of us would be happy with the top 3 position, regardless of what that is, but would obviously conflict with your goals if you've promised other players in your alliance positions. I'm not saying we can't work together still if that's the case, but I wanted to put that info out there because I think we can bring this game to a very easy close if we're all on the same page. What do you say about that? Well, I'm not going to turn on my entire alliance to get 2 people in the south top 3, even if that means I win, which I don't think that even could be coordinated. I don't think that's a realistic ask. But it's good to have an understanding of what's happening in the southeast. I think I need to follow up with some questions. Obvious questions is, what would then be the plan? You want me to shed smaller alliances. What about your 2 smaller alliances over here and here, right? You have these 3. What happens to them? I think that's my first answer because, quite frankly, me shedding smaller alliance members, Fleet may die anyway. Avo may die anyway. I don't want either to, but it may happen. But I think our 4 core, in theory, if Jorb was getting beat on, he could give these stars to me. That would make me very strong. And we could have just the 3 here being Belt, Soulfire, myself. That could happen if things went wrong. We'll have to see. I don't think we're to that point yet. As a matter of fact, we're early mid-game. I know we're not to that point yet. Anyway, but I wanted to share that. And probably in the next video I can tell you what I've decided to do. It's been a busy diplomatic day. Let's talk through what's happened since then. I just don't want to lose it while it's hot. So I replied back, thanking them, telling them, I can't guarantee you top 3. I don't have that type of power. If anything, Belt and Soulfire is going to get top 3. All I can tell you is I'm willing to work with you to the best potential outcome. That being said, things I can control is we can agree to peace on the board in the southwest like to suggest, and us pushing in from the center from the west while they push in from the south to the center makes sense. And then I was like, okay, well, who did you want me to shed? And what about your smaller alliance members? And they basically, and then I also mentioned, so Ripper told me that the South had offered Darby and Ripper an alliance, but attacked before they could return a response. And I said, that doesn't make me feel really good. And they basically came back and saying, we gave them 5 days. Yeah, Fogor may have been a little bit antsy, but we did wait 5 days. So I'm satisfied with that and don't hold that against them at all. Um, so then I said, oh, and they also said about Blueby that apparently he was trying to play both sides of the game and also working with Phil Bill, and they found out about it, and so they're killing him, which is actually really good, and that because that could have been kind of a deal breaker if they needed him to be kept alive. So the fact that they're taking him out means that they're just the two pinks and the two down here. The two down here, then I said, okay, well, they're going to end up, and I'll just let you can. I said, they're going to end up fighting AIVVV regardless. There's no other. I mean, I guess they could cut through, but I just don't see that happening. Um, and then if the two pinks then punch up through the middle, that actually could work pretty well. Um, so this was the response I got from them. Um, they have said they've been keeping up the talks with the Northeast Alliance, and they want me to call out basically if we attack Avo and Fleet, you know, that's who they want us to shed, so to speak. Um, and I get it. I think what's going to happen and what they don't realize is we want to keep Fleet alive, but it may not matter. I think AIVVV is going to be his northern border, their northern border sooner than they think. Um, and so that's going to dictate how things pan out. The other bit of bad news is QWERTY just got Weapons 9, and so things didn't go quite as well as planned. I still win this star by 1 star if Tinfoil does not get, and I think because he's so weak they may not think it's worth it to send him Weapons 9, but if they do, I lose the star, which would really stink. So anyway, a lot of diplomatic actions going on, and then we've been talking internally about how do we respond, and where there's options around, do these two just keep pushing down to the south, or do we have some of them cut over? And I kind of feel like we need them to cut over, at least one of them. If we don't, I think we're really going to be in a world of hurt in the center real soon. So that's the latest. Cycle 15, as you can see the yellow. We've made some good progress up here in the north. We've truly established a beachhead. We're going to fend off some counterattacks. We've got our forces up here in full force, and we're going to continue to take a few more stars without much contention. We'll lose some along the way, but we will get this cluster probably in the next 24 hours. And then things will start to fall faster and faster as you see there's less resources. I'm going to try to just start from the west and work my way this way. So because I think very soon I'm going to be up against AIVVV, and I may have to help with QWERTY. I would like to get this section here as well. Jorb, he's still recovering. He's still a little weak, but he should get this cluster up here. I was just helping him out. You can see QWERTY is still, he's actually stronger than me individually. But we have Jorb and I, and in theory these guys over here are attacking, although I haven't really seen them do much. I think this star from Harkoon is a first advance I've seen them make, so hopefully they're able to put some pressure on, and QWERTY did reach out asking for a ceasefire. So that's actually good news. On the political front, I think we've established tentatively with the pink team, pink ladies down here, and we're basically we're racing to get our border in the southwest, and but they're saying that they're not going to help with the north until they've finished expanding down here, and they would like to see us get as killed off as possible. So I'm reaching out to the Jewish Star Empire to see if, I'm basically admitting that, hey, these guys are our team. Can you stop attacking them? If you don't, we're going to send our full force at him. I need him to stop attacking us, to go in the southeast, or if he really wants to, go attack the south. We'll see what comes back from that, but yeah, that's where we're at for now. Cycle 16, a lot's transpired. Let's kick it off with the message I got earlier in the cycle. And as you can see, I've continued my push on Ungoliant. I got a message from QWERTY, any chance I can request peace with you? Basically saying, hey, you know what, Any chance I get peace? I said, maybe. Can you give me a path to northeast? And are you okay with me killing Ungoliant? He said, yes and yes. That's fine. So I opened up a thread with three of us. So I opened up a thread with the three of us and basically explained to Jorb what's going on. And from my perspective, it's good because when we looked at the stats, Jorb was actually really strong, stronger than me. And Ungoliant was stronger than Jorb, so those two were stronger than us. The only thing we had going for us were we were 100% focused on them, and this northeast corner was attacking Quirty. If that weren't the case, it would have been a problem. So but basically, Quirty told us that he tried to create a non-aggression pact with the people in the northeast, but they had 4,000 ships flying at him, so he wanted to basically either suicide into one side, he didn't specify which, or see if we'd work with him. Um, Basically, he said that they were nasty people. They tried to extort him to become their bitch, and that they demanded 5K cash for 5 cycles of peace. He said no. So then they arranged a 3-day cycle of peace if he gave up some planets, which they didn't uphold. And so he basically wants them dead. And so that little arrangement that I didn't know about versus us just attacking like normal people, um, was enough to say, okay, I'd rather side with him. So what that means then is not only is he's going to work with us, Jorb and he can go up here and deal with these three players. Actually, and Galaxu's kind of in it for the ride too. I don't. He's giving me a path to the northeast, but I don't know that I actually can really take advantage of it. So that's the biggest thing. Is this whole section has changed politics, where now this all these pinks are going to work together, and I think those two are strong enough to push back those guys, which means I can focus solely on taking out all of Ungoliant and then helping deal with AIVVV. Speaking of AIVVV, we're getting some intel reports, and these are reports that I'm getting from Fleet, and these mean nothing to me when I look at him out of context. But what he's telling me is he's falling back, but he's still not dead. I mean, and his economy's decent. He's still got decent industry. Um, so while AIVV is making progress, he said the Fleet is a veteran player, and it sounds like this guy is not so much, and he's making some mistakes. We also have a weapon lead on him, so that's got to be painful for him. So I think he thought that this was going to go a lot differently than it has. On the other front, in the south, well, these guys are making progress. We reached out to Rager to see if he wants to join forces with us and attack the Pink Ladies, waiting for him to respond back. Not sure it'll work out. The Pink Ladies, let's go to their thread. Here they go. And basically, they write a lot. Basically, what they said is, you can pause if you want to read the whole thing. But basically, what they said here is, we're not going to go mess with the North, and we're not going to commit to you, and we just want to be honest about that. We want to kill the people in the Southwest, and then see how things are. And my perspective was, okay, thanks for your response, but your lack of commitment means I have to prepare for the worst. So don't get mad, think I'm betraying you. And basically what that means is trying to get Rager, have these three, Soulfire, Belt, and Rager, push in on them from here. The only people that can really beat us this game are if Scarlet, AI, and Kara, all three of them unite. This northeast quadrant is not going to be an issue anymore now that we have Quirty. And the southeast quadrant have to get through these other people too, and I don't know that they're that strong. So really, it's these three players, the pinks in the middle. And I should get through Ungoliant soon. We have Avo coming through. We have Soulfire diverting some of his focus through. It's the Fleet's putting up a valiant effort. He may actually survive this thing. And if we can hold our ground and start to push AI back, I expect the Pink Ladies are going to swoop on up and start to attack us. And if they do, then, that's when we need to hit them from this backside. And yeah, so it's getting crazy. There's been some other politics that have gone on. And just for really entertainment purposes, let's go ahead and take a look at some of what happened here. Um, I just checked in how it's doing. AI says my religion is doing fine. Um, he says fleet is no more. I'm killing him. He got boosted from mid alliance and flipped his side, but couldn't stay humble. Pink religion prevails. Um, and And then I just said that AIVV pushing west was a direct threat to my team and against what we discussed with all of us moving south. To be quite honest, that was a contingency plan. I didn't really know if that would happen and didn't really expect it to, but it was a good excuse to basically create the tension here. To me, he declared war on us that forced us to recruit fleet in AVO, which isn't really true. I had them anyway because I knew we were going to have to fight them. Um, and then, went back and forth. This is out. And I basically said, so now we fight. Your greed, Avo, AI, your. Oh, another point I made was you pushing in the center completely made it so we couldn't execute our plan when he had all these stars to capture, but instead of capturing the stars that he could easily do, he pushed in here, leaving them where no one else could get to. So it really was a greedy play. He said that's outrageous, which I think he meant me, but I said I agreed. Oh, the other thing, yeah, I call him out for extorting their neighbors. Um, and he said, hey, before you just call out an attack against them, you should have made it clear, and we should have talked it out. This is Sparta. He said, he thinks I'm just using this as an excuse to get rid of a power rival. Yes, of course I am. So I told them to control their dogs. If they cannot control them dogs, we will put them down. Good day, sir. And then Jewish Star, tried to come back and make peace. And I said the only thing that'll make us have peace is if Avos, you stop attacking him, stop attacking fleet. And AI said, if you want me to stop attacking him, you have to respect and negotiate and offer ransom or tech. Um, Jewish Star's like, please, like, don't say that. That's not necessary. And so I just jumped all over that and said, all right, we're on the brink of war, and your response was pay us ransom. He's not someone I'm willing to ally with. And so Jewish Star, when you're watching this, I was never going to ally with him or you guys probably, simply because if I did, then this would happen. So it's not really, there really wasn't anything you could do. Just it's the way the board worked out. So this is really just for comedy at this point. But anyway, so that's all the politics. Um, I did ask Ungoliant to give me a stars, and he said he would not, that I have to pay the iron cost because he wants me to view him as a trustworthy ally. So fine, I'll do it the hard way. I'll work through Ungoliant uncontested. If you look, he's going to stop getting weapons upgrades, and so it'll get quicker. Probably a day or two, and then I'll be on the front lines, and then it'll get crazy. Cycle 18. What a bizarre last 24 hours. I think it's only been 24 hours. Let's break things down. If you just look at the leaderboard, you have Scarlet, AIVV, Kara, Fogger, right? Like Rager even coming up the ranks. There's a lot of competent players, and they're in good shape. The problem for them is right now you effectively have this diagonal split where the Northwest Alliance has brought on QWERTY and by proxy Galaxu, with myself potentially and Jorb more than enough to handle this corner. The center's already struggling with Fleet, who's been absolutely brilliant. Here's a screenshot he sent basically kind of showing, he said he's had these like little marauder fleets just flying around, and AIVV keeps like sending everything, leaving things undefended. And so he's just constantly taking, retaking. He's completely outgunned, but because there aren't stars being left behind, he's able to keep just retaking things in the middle and staying alive. So here's an example of what I'm seeing here. The fleet sends these tactical reports and has just really done a great job. Crews of his second Renaissance Squadron are all but being given medals of honor for their cleverness. He's really been just outstanding. Fleet's held the center so strong, and so because of that, and because you had basically the South and the Northeast align, they expected to steamroll through the middle, and they weren't. We had Avo coming in to defend. We had Soulfire coming in to defend while I was still pushing through from the north. And because we had enough support in the center, they started to crumble. And so they started to have these internal conversations. Kara Starbuck Thrace sent message basically saying she didn't want to attack. They thought Fleet was on their side when he's been on our side since the beginning. If you go back and watch, we'd been courting Fleet. I'd been courting him since the beginning. We added him as a sixth member. I knew he was good, and he's bonded with our team. Him and Avo have been so awesome together fighting in the center. And then once Soulfire showed up, the three of them have basically won us the game. I mean, I think our game is because of these three players more so than anything Jorb or I did up north. And then I guess what Belt and Soulfire did in the Southwest, and then just their huge threat because they have the most ships. That has been what, I mean, I'm kind of claiming victory already. It just seems like it's headed that way. Of course, there's a lot of game left to be played. So let me fast forward a little bit. Basically, they thought they were trying to convince Fleet to flip on us. He's like, what? He was as if I'd betray the best team I can remember playing with in ages to join the eventual losing side. That was their misstep. Not understanding that the six of us understand the game as well as they do, and why would we flip to the losing side? Why would anyone? They had this big thread about, hey, we're going to attack you, and within 24 hours, they're trying to renegotiate and ask for Fleet to give him ships. And then, we start getting messages like this. Hey, Avo, can you lay off for a day or two? And so I'm going to kill Pink Star for you. And this is partially what they're seeing, right? In the Southwest, this is the Southwest corner, you have Soulfire, you have Belt, who are right up against them. They're taking out that corner. They're taking out Rager. And the sheer number of army down here is just way more than they can handle. And so they realize that. And here is then they finally reached out to me, asking me to ask the team to not attack them, which is just nonsensical. But what I told them is, okay, if you want me to do that, like, what I say, similar to Fleet. Listen, like nothing's going to change here. But I said, yeah, they basically admit. This is the chat they had. They're trying to convince their team that they're going to lose. And I said, yes, you're right. You are going to lose. And I want to kill Pink Star. So I said, why don't you please post to everyone that you are publicly attacking him? Why don't you stop attacking my team if you are? Launch on them, show me screenshots, and then we'll talk. But I'm not promising you anything. And so they did. They went ahead and posted this thread here, which is Kara to pretty much everyone left. And again, within a day of posting a thread to the world saying that we're going to kill you with the cowboy singing, I'm going to resign. I'm made to play this game again. Um, it's all a bit nonsensical. And then she posted the message that she posted to her team that, you know what, Pink Star won't work with them. They won't give the Fleet what he wants to be able to survive, which basically, of course, he's not. The Fleet basically caused this whole alliance to fall apart. I mean, he's going to get my MVP vote. And then I got this. Oh yeah. So here's the MP stats that they used to look at it. Of course, they left off. They left off some people that was not quite appropriate, like Ripper's not on their team, and they don't have Fogor on their team listed. So this is not actually totally true, but whatever, it's on them. And so here's what they send us. And so this is the internal conversation between the three pinks. So I come with potentially great news. Originally, Pink Circle, which is Fleet, and I were in alliance, which they weren't. After the rest of the alliance split off, we had a peace treaty up the entire game, which is true. They did. He's been quite good to me, so they reached out if he would see if he was willing to flip on the Northeast in exchange for temporary peace. He accepted with the following condition: will you be okay? Since he has a lot of ships and is loyal, he'd send them after Green once we do what he's asked. So stop attacking him. He suggested a path, and he just asked for 3 planets in exchange for suiciding against the West. He says you can have the other planets. So that was the lie, which is clearly a lie, I think. Um, but and AI actually the answer is simple and short. No, I'm not stepping back on this. The Northeast did try to use him for me to back off, so I went in full to you and at least take him down. Tactically, 3K ships at this point is nothing, especially in the next few hours. He'll lose 600 attacking his planets. Concentrate on Avo and the fleet. Cut them down as weeds. And then Scarlet's like, make sure you read the important message. But as far as Fogor, I'm trying to get him to come through me to the middle to help. Peon is slow, and I don't think he will be a problem. Also, in 2 days, we'll have superior tech in all levels, AIVV said. I don't know about that being true, but they are ahead in tech, in terraforming. Okay, sorry to hear that, but I understand. He says, I do understand the importance of negotiating. And I do appreciate that you are doing it, but I also need to be true to my word. The fleet is principle. Oh, Fogor did ask that he gets a certain thing. He said, that's fine. I must win the battle at my top first. So he's talking about right up here, because it creates at least a little bit back for Ungoliant. Yeah, because he's feeding Ungoliant weapons. So actually not sending new ships in the middle until they try to contest it with the new army. All fighting and planet swapping in the mid with me is 30 to 50 ships. Okay, concentrate on top and you two push back teal. I'll route the middle. Avo, I want you to reconsider helping Pink Circle. I'm going to tell you why. He's going to attack me with 2,000 ships that he left if I don't give him up his territories. If he does, these are 2,000 ships I won't have to help you north. It will take a day at least out of any progress I make. If I don't make progress here, Scarlet is dead down in the south. He is about to be attacked by 17,000 ships, half of which are Soulfires, and if we don't succeed, he's fucked too. Graymason has 6,000 ships that will move south to attack you, and as soon as Ungoliant falls. You have 5.5, 6.5, and Scarlet has a bit over 7. We are outnumbered big there, and even though it's just 2,000 ships from Pink Circle, that's 2,000 not attacking us, and another 2,000 fighting in the middle. That's a 4K swing. We could really use the help. So Scarlet is absolutely on point, and that was why earlier I got Fleet on board and saved him from being killed, because Fleet was the pivotal player in this match. Yes, he's not the powerhouse. No, he's not going to win first overall. But whichever side he's on has a huge advantage because A, he's competent, and B, those are ships that will swing the battle into one side or the other. They just realized it too late, or got to him too late. He says, look, if he double crosses us after what we do, after we do what he asks, I will resign. Which is unfortunate because he would double cross her if they listened to him and did that. So in this case, while Scarlet is right about Fleet's importance, AIVV is actually correct to not give in to the demands because Fleet's not flipping and he knows that. So that's true. Soul and Bell both have 8.5K. Green will come in to help, but by that time they'll have 47 to 36, and they make more ships right now. They're steamrolling us. We need everything. He said, you did offer to be 3 versus everyone. How did that go for you? Which is my point, right? I think they just bit off more than they could chew. Why did you put in the Ripper okay, so then about the stats, right? Why did you put in the Ripper who's not even playing? And who is even Galaxu? Yeah, that's a good point. And how does my words "do not listen to the Jewish Star Empire" miss your ears? Which is hilarious, and I hope Jewish Star sees that because that's awesome. You did say that you play the same as me. Not sure what you meant by that, because playing as me means that we have three enemies at hand: Fleet, Avo, Soulfire, and we are hella stronger. Everything else is potential. And that potential includes you whenever you'd like to join us. Fight for 48 hours, and then we'll talk again. Nothing will happen to any of you in that time, and you will still have plenty of diplomatic options. He's on point. He's actually correct. That's what they should be doing right now. And then, but the problem is, Scarlet, you literally have no idea what is going on in the big picture of the map. So Fire and Belt are coming to the southwest. Look at the freaking map. That's where all my ships are. Do you think I can hold them off by myself? It's not a 3v3. It's a 3v3 for you, but not for the team. You can't agree to this, and then we lose the game for sure. And even if you don't believe that, well, it doesn't really matter because we do. And if you can't accept this small thing, then we will just join the enemy. We'll join the enemy. Where did the energy go? Because you will have lost us the game and don't deserve the win. Maybe consider listening to me, the person who has won 64-player games out of the 12 I have played, and who has been talking to literally everyone on the map and knows what is happening everywhere. And he says, but I'm already fighting Soulfire. It's still you with no versus no one that matters. That's how you play with what there is at hand. Okay, let's forget reason. I'm not backing off, and I insist that this works. We kill everything mid, what is not us. So, you out? What happens then? What allies there is? You somehow are not versus Belt and Soulfire. General, genital stretching I will ignore. If I'm bad in this game and you are so good, why are we talking at all? And how come your greatness made you be in this moment? This is just good stuff, right? Um, and then he says, King Arthur's not going to surrender anything up there until it's a fight. Listen to me, not bullshit speaking role players. so, um, yeah, I mean, they both have their points. So here's where they're right. They need to work together to have any chance of survival. And I love to see the infighting, and I love to get an insider's peek. The problem is, AI does not communicate in a way, right? Their styles clash, where both of these players write very long, well thought out, correct punctuation, right? Thoughtful, meaningful, deeper thoughts. Um, AIV is very short, crude, to the point. Um, and tactical, and I think their styles don't mesh. And so now we're at a point where we're seeing things like this. They're just mad, and they want to just the pink ladies, who actually both may be men, as it turns out, but they picked female names, so they're the pink ladies. Um, they're gonna potentially turn now on the Pink Star, and listen, I didn't even talk about what I'm doing. I'm actually coming in strong on Goliath. Um, Once I take this cluster of stars, I do need to figure out, do I go into the northeast or do I push into the middle? Um, I kind of want to push into the middle and just put a stake in AI. Um, so if I can have these guys hold off up here, that would be ideal. But anyway, yeah, it might be, well, this might be game, and it's a very long update. We're cycle 18, and R6 are strong, and they're falling apart. So very long update, a lot going on. Um, Now we just need our six to hold together, because I think this marks the beginning of the end for this game. So a little cycle 18 update for everybody. Jorb Gore basically said he's getting tired of the game, and although the drama is entertaining, he's interested in dropping out. So he said, go ahead and take my stars. That's huge, because if you look, he's at 25 plus my 60 puts me at 85 stars. I was kind of out of the running. That put me 2 out of first, once I take his stars. And obviously I have my main cluster and then this new cluster near Ungoliant. I get all this in between. I'm this massive yellow ball of death. And at that point, then I can figure out, do I help mid? Do I help push northeast. I think I definitely at least partially need to help QWERTY in the northeast. I just don't know, see like what percentage of my forces I need to divert that way. Um, but I mean, I don't really care if I get first. I would like to get first. I'd like to get top three for sure. And I feel like this game, I kind of don't deserve first. Um, I feel like Belt and Soulfire probably do more so. I thought love the three of us to get top three, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves either because this is still only cycle 18th. A lot of things could go not our way, but that was just an important development here. You know, and just so you don't think I'm making this up. Um, so I'm pretty much in a stalemate up here. Kind of lost interest in the game, haha, except for all the crazy drama between the big alliances. So start taking my stars. I'll try to get out of the way. So I'm like, all right, happy to do it. And then I launched on pretty much every star he has the next tick. And so, and then just for a little bit of drama, we said, let's go ahead. And he posted to everyone that I attacked him and to avenge him. And then he posted a video of the statue. Well, I won't post it, but anyway, getting toppled down. And then I just, this is just for fun. This is just all for fun. But anyway, that is another big game changer for me. And thank you, Jorb, for your donation. Cycle 19, this will be the last mid-game video as we really are getting to end game now. So a couple of things to talk about. First is my conquering of the Jorb stars is nearing completion. It's been quite a boost. As you can see, I'm now caught up with my allies and only 10 behind Scarlet for the lead. And I still have, Jorb still got a few more for me to grab. So I've got 10 more to go. So actually, that's good stuff. I've also pretty much finished off on Goliath, who is now an AI. Put up a good fight. So now I'm at the point where I have to decide which way to go or which ways to go. Certainly I have to put some ships and some forces to the northeast, but I could also send some to the center. And I think I want to do a little bit of both to give myself a pathway both, and then I can evaluate. So I asked the center guys, okay, where should I go and how much should I send? They told me to go ahead here, so I will send myself, I will send there. But I also wanted to start making a presence up here as well. So I have a little bit of cleanup. I kind of slowed down a little bit to take these stars. So there's going to be probably a 24-hour delay before my full forces get back to the front lines. But I'm going to come back so much stronger now with I have Jorb stars as well. So QWERTY's still on board. He's still fighting strong. 6,000 fleets against 9,000, right? So he definitely needs me. And so I definitely do need to go ahead and push in. I'm not as far ahead as I need to be. That being said, I've really been investing in economy. With all those new stars I gathered, I thought the most important thing for me to do was to catch up on star count, or I'm sorry, on economy. So you can see here a big boost in stars, economy, big boost. I'm actually second now only to Soulfire, who I will also try to keep up with. But yeah, so that is the main thing right now. Industry, I haven't really made a push. These are just the kind of from the benefit of taking over stars from Jorb and on Goliath. Same with science. I haven't really made a big push since back here. So that's just kind of natural. And then my ship count hasn't been huge because I haven't been pushing my economy, and I haven't been pushing my industry, and I've been still battling to take all the stars from Goliath. This is going to shoot up pretty quick. So still a little bit of a lull in big action, but it's about to get real, I think. And we'll see which way needs the most pressure. The only other thing, I did have a little bit of, I don't know if I just got paranoid, but I was talking with Jewish Star, which I probably just shouldn't do because he gets in my head. But he said that his allies are the best you could ask for. Their acting was phenomenal, most convincing performance. And then he talked about me, the betrayal thing. No one really believed it, I don't think. We were just playing around. I said, do you really think I did? No. And I said, you can't believe everything you read on the internet. And he says, wise advice. If you had followed it, our plan would have failed. And I'm like, what, really? And then I told him, thank you. You have no idea how helpful that was. Your advice is truly game changing. Um, so basically, this whole thing about the Kara being upset with AIVVV and trying to turn fleet, I basically called them out and said I think it's a ruse. I think it's like the werewolf game where it's like no, I'm not the werewolf. Yeah, they're the werewolves. They use this time in the center to have Avo stop attacking. Now, it benefited him as well. Everyone could kind of catch their breath. But right now, the only fighting happening in the center is against AIVVVV. And you can see from his chart, if we just look at him, he has been taking a beating, and he's been losing a lot of stars because you do have Fleet and Soulfire and Avo and now Kara hitting him. I don't really believe that she's really going all out for him, but we'll see. If she does, then great. They just forcing their game to be lost. But I feel like the play could be she needs a reprieve. She got a couple of stars in here, and you can see she's taking some stars. So it's one of two things. Either, well, shoot, I thought it was just to get in position and turn on Fleet, but maybe she really is just killing him. Huh. I don't know. That seems like a really bad play. Yeah, you can't let your emotions get the best of you. You have to do like what's right for you. I mean, while his style may not have been well received, AIVVV, in all the communications I saw, was actually the right call. They should have been full out attacking Fleet. They should have full out not let this happen. They can't let personality get in the way. So I think that was a misstep. You just have to look past that stuff. If you're trying to win, I guess if you're trying to play the game where I want to be the kingmaker and I want the king to be the most worthy person in the way that I view worthy, the nicest person or whatever, then fine. But if you're actually trying to win the game, there's no world in which her attacking the only other person, the strongest player, is going to help her. Especially when her ally, Scarlet, is full out attacking in the southwest. And so we have our strongest two players down here, and Soulfire, what he's not sitting in the middle, plus all of Belt are already down there fighting. So, even if they have some of these other players like down here, Fogger, who's not weak, he's got more ships than me, and Peon, even if they make a path to come up, it's going to take a while. And despite the fact there's been almost no progress up here, and I haven't even gotten to the front yet, this game seems a little too easy, so I'm kind of waiting for what's going to go wrong. So we'll see. We'll chop it off here, and then we'll do the final boss fight, basically the Northwest Alliance versus the world. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, click on the link for the next episode, and don't forget to click subscribe for more content.